Hello, everybody. Teching 101 here. I'm going to sneeze. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll get back to you on that, if I'm going to sneeze or not. A follow-up will be necessary. No, I'm good. I'm good now. Okay. That ever happened to you? I don't know. It happens to me all the time. It's very annoying. I'll either sneeze like 2 or 3 times in a row, or I'll like about to sneeze and then not at all. But that's how it is. Anyway, welcome to chapter 1157 breakdown stream. We're going to take this chapter and we're going to break it in half. We're going to break its legs. And we're going to learn about this chapter. We're going to learn all about Silver Axe. We're going to learn all about Shiki and Shocky and Harold. And we're going to learn who else shows up in this chapter. Probably some other people. We're going to learn all about Kong and Sengoku and Suru and Garp. Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't mention Shiki floating. That's because I didn't notice it. It's like, yeah, I miss things in the chapter, especially with, so there's the scene. Let's open that up because I did use Shiki as the thumbnail. So in the beginning of the chapter, when the Rocks Pirates are all running out of that temple, there's a scene where Shiki throws the bomb down the shaft. Haha, shaft. Anyway, he throws it down, and then he kind of like jumps away. And I thought that's what people were referring to, and I'm like, oh, he's just jumping. He's not, like, floating. But no, there's one scene later that's, like, one panel that you could, like, it's there. It's, like, one panel where Shiki is very clearly hovering over Silver Axe and Wang. So it's there. I just missed it. But, yeah, Shiki does have, canonically, the float fruit, which has been something mentioned before. In like an SBS, I believe. Oda was talking about Shiki's character and about the devil fruit, and it was a little ambiguous whether or not it was going to be included, but the way that Oda talked about it, at least to me, the way I interpreted it, was that like, well, I already gave Shiki the float fruit in the movie Strong World. It would be weird for him not to have it now in the show, in the manga, because people might get confused. Like, so wait a minute, he had the devil fruit in the movie, but he doesn't have it in the manga. So I think Oda just decided to make it simple and just be like, fine, he has the fruit. Although Oda does go on to say that he doesn't really like at the beginning of the story, he didn't like the idea of just giving someone the ability of flight, because the whole point of the story is like island hopping, being pirates on the sea. And if there was one guy that could just fly and just go anywhere that he wanted, then like that kind of defeats the purpose of the manga. But I think as long as like you don't have a lot of people that have the ability to fly, like the ability to fly is still a very rare thing to get your hands on in the One Piece world. Not a lot of people really have the ability of freedom of flight in the way that Shiki does. Like, there's characters like Pell that can turn into a bird, but birds cannot fly, like, anywhere on the planet without any limitation, right? Like, so there's limits there. Eneru's arc is unique in the way that was built. So, yeah, I mean, the flying fish, they have to go underwater and then come back out, and then, like, they can't just stay in the air permanently. So, Shiki really does have, like, the most freedom of flight, but it's not like that ability is ubiquitous in the world, right? Yeah. I got a super chat just now. How do people get to interview you for a podcast? Email me at my Gmail, teching101@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you there. But yeah, I love doing interviews and things with people. Like, a lot of times people just message me and be like, hey, Teching, I'm doing a college project. Do you want me to, I want to interview you for something? And I'll be like, all right, sure, I'll do that. So just email me over there and we could figure something out. Hey, Teching, at work right now, but if she is his mom, referring to Tritoma, what if Tritoma died of love sickness because she had to give up Luffy? Ooh. So, little bit of things with the timelines here, right? So, Boa Hancock became the Empress, and, well, okay, we don't know for certain she became the Empress, but we know for a fact she became a warlord at age 18, which would have been 13 years ago. I'm going to assume, because of the way they talked about how they made her a warlord based off of the exploits of the previous empresses, she also became empress at age 18. And if the way that this works is that when the previous empress dies, they immediately have to pick a new empress, I assume Tritoma died 13 years ago. She died 13 years ago. Boa became the new empress at age 18. The world government recognized her as a warlord because of the exploits of Tritoma and Shocky and Gloriosa. And then that's where we're at right now. which would also mean Tritoma died when Luffy was 6 years old. And when Luffy was 6 years old, he was already at Fuchsia. In fact, 6 years old was right around the time when Shanks' crew originally docked at Fuchsia, and because it was mentioned that Shanks and the Red Hair Pirates had been using Fuchsia as their base for a whole year before Luffy ate the devil fruit, before Higama and all that trouble happened. Luffy was 7 years old when he ate the Gumu Gumu no Mi, and so it was like a year prior to that they had showed up. Okay, so, and even before that, like a little bit before that, he had been living on Fuchsia. Garp had been training him. So if Tritoma is Luffy's mom, she would have died when he was around 6 years old. How old is Dragon in the current flashback? So 42 years ago, Dragon is 55. He would be 13 years old. He had been 13. Do you think Imu wanted Moria dead after Marineford because of what the Kage Kage no Mi could accomplish? I don't know if it's Imu that wanted Moria dead. Doflamingo, all the Doflamingo said was because Moria was like, why are you doing this, Doflamingo? Kishi. And Doflamingo's like, I got the orders. And Moria's like, Sengoku gave you the orders? And then, Dofle's like, no, from even higher up. So, I don't know. It could have been Imu, but I always took that scene to mean the Gorosei were like, yeah, Moria's too fucking weak. He got his ass kicked by Luffy. I mean, what has Moria even been doing as a warlord for most of the time, right? At least, like, Mihawk is sort of hard to control, but Mihawk at least gets results. Moria just kind of stays on his island and doesn't do much, so they were probably already kind of on the cusp of, like, letting him stay as a warlord, because he's not really... I mean, yeah, he's capturing pirates that come to Thriller Bark and shit, I guess, but, like, he's, like, staying on his island and just sleeps all day. He doesn't really do much. So then he gets his ass kicked by Luffy during Thriller Bark, and then he goes to Marineford and he gets his ass kicked by Jinbei, among other people. And at a certain point, I think the Gorosei were like, yeah, this guy's fucking, like, he's not living up to the standard of the warlord. He's actually probably harming the reputation, if nothing. So let's kick him out. That's the way I interpreted it. But maybe it was Imu. Would an Elbaf be inappropriate here? Or do you want to holler God Valley? No, let's still do Elbaf. Elbaf! I can't wait to see what Oda has cooking. We might get through the flashback by Halloween. People have been saying that we're just going to keep with the flashback until the end of the year, which I'm honestly okay with that. I'm fine with that. I mean, this flashback is so damn good. We'll eventually get back to the craziest thing is, like, this flashback is really good, and where we left off at Elbaf is really good too. So whether or not Oda sticks around here for a few more months, or we go immediately back to Imu and the evil giants, I'm okay with that too. Out of my mind. Thanks for the 20. I think Harold will defend Rocks, and then one of the Gods Knights will kill him. So certainly it does seem like Harold is not going to kill Rocks. At least that's my impression of it. Harold is all about Elbaf pride of the giants and whatnot. And the Gorosei asking Harold to kill Rocks. Like, even though he admits, like, even in this chapter when him and Rocks and Harold were having a drink at Ida's bar, he even says, you are like one of the worst criminals in the world. I can't even trust you to go into the island anymore, but I will come out here and have a drink with you. They're still friends. Harold still views Rocks as a friend. And so he's not going to kill his friend. Like, he's just not. Like the pride of the giants are going to, like, he's not going to do it. Unless him killing Rocks is the thing that made him pull off his horns. Like, they made me kill my own friend. Never again! Never again! He, like, rips off his horns because of it. I don't know. But, oh, shit. Oh, I just realized something. Oh, man. Okay. I got it. All right. Like, this is probably not that big of a deal, but I just had a Jimmy Neutron brain blast kind of thing. So in this chapter, Harold shaves his head. And he mentions, let's go to that scene really quick in the official. Oh my God. Elbaf will be part of the world government one day. And then Rock says, and you think shaving your head will make them see your contrition? What kind of culture did you get that from? And so Rox just kind of laughs at him. And then Harold says, yeah, Garp laughed at me too. So from Harold's perspective, it's probably like an Elbaf, like, cultural thing with the giants that, like, if you're really dedicated to something or a cause, to show that you are, to show that level of contrition. I love that they use that word. That's one of the words up on my whiteboard, my little vocab words that I use, contrition. So, you know, Harald is like, I will shave my head to prove that I, am loyal to the cause. And he did it, but nobody really gave a shit because shaving your head's not that big of a deal, right? Like, it's like, okay. So then maybe Harald was like, what do I have to do to prove to you? Okay, fine. Is this enough? Ah! And then rips off his fucking horns. And then it's just like, oh shit, okay, that's how dedicated. All right, now that maybe shaving your head on Elbaf does give the same impression as the horn thing, but to everybody else, that's just kind of like, who gives a fuck? You've shaved your head, who cares? But he's like, oh, okay, you want to see dedication then? Ah! And he rips off his horns. Like, that's probably why. That's probably why, to really show how dedicated he was. Like, okay. Oh, man. I think Blackbeard has Rock's heart inside of him, and Rox has the op fruit, so Teach has a watered-down version of the lineage factor. This is why he could siphon other devil fruit powers from people. I don't know if that explains how he could siphon other devil fruit powers from people, but the idea that, like, it's Rox's heart or Rox's soul or some trace, oh, okay. And all that's level is some trace of things inside of him. Maybe that's the case. Yeah, maybe. I made a video on the topic of what if Joy Boy had 2 devil fruits, the Sun God fruit, and then Yami Yami, 2 sides of the same coin. Thoughts? It's possible. Like, it's very clear that there is, like, they're opposites, right? Like, there's opposites, though, also with Emu and Luffy, and also Blackbeard and Luffy. It's very interesting. In fact, I don't know exactly how Oda's going to go with this, because Emu is clearly the one that is the devil that is using the Domi Reversi, turning the characters into the black pieces on the board. Luffy's clearly going to be someone that's going to turn them into white pieces on the board, and so that's going to, like, flip them back and things like that, right? So that's at least what I can assume. So we already have, like a juxtapositioning here. We also have an opposite parallel between Emu and the Sun God. So where does Blackbeard fit into this, who also has the power of darkness? I don't know if there's like 2 opposites, but here's the thing though. There's also multiple sun gods walking around, right? Like Luffy is the sun god. Bonnie can turn into a form of the sun god. Loki is claiming to be the sun god. So it also does make sense that there's also a lot of versions of the devil out there too, where Emu is the devil and Blackbeard might be the devil. And there's other characters too. Oh man, absolutely. A One Piece crack theory in his own live stream recently, and I want your opinion. Toriko gourmet cells are what devil fruits are made of, making Toriko a previous age. I'd like Toriko as the manga. It's a really crazy in terms of world building kind of manga. I just reread all of part 1 again recently. So the thing with Toriko though, like the gourmet cell thing, like I don't know if Toriko is going to turn out to be an actual previous age in One Piece. That might be going a little bit too far with it. But like maybe a general idea. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to go, because we already have the idea of like genetics in One Piece, right? Like lineage factor is essentially DNA. That's genetics. So it's possible. Like Vegapunk was studying devil fruits, and the conclusion that Vegapunk came to though was like desire is what creates the devil fruits. Like Vegapunk didn't really have a scientific explanation for this. He just kind of said that, like, if humans desire something, then the fruits are brought into existence. That seems like the fuckery of a god at that point, right? That seems like some weird god or some weird curse or a devil, because devil fruits is the one that set these rules rather than, like, some biological natural occurrence. I'm not really sure. Also, the plot of Toriko gets really esoteric and hard to follow at the end, especially when you get into, like, food luck and all the different, like it gets really complicated. And so each chapter is just like the power of the gourmet cells mixed with the power of the food luck and through the parallel red dimension and the blue dimension. And it's just like, it gets really weird at the end. It's hard to follow. That's fine. Would you read my super chat? Yes, I can. They're all saved, so don't worry if I miss yours. There's a lot that are coming in. Lola and Loki were supposed to happen. That Big Mom is really evil. Yeah, she makes her kids like sign up for arranged marriages. It's not cool. Which flashback is better, existing and informative, Odin or Harald? So far, Harald. We're learning a lot more about Harald's backstory and Rox's backstory and also Shaki's backstory, which is part of Loki's backstory, right? Odin's flashback was great. It was mainly focused on Odin, and there was like maybe 2 chapters where we really focused on Roger. And the biggest thing we got out of Roger was like, well, 2 things. We got the name of Lodestar, and then we also got like he laughed at the One Piece, but we didn't see what the One Piece was. We just saw his reaction to it. Here, we're really spending a lot more time with Rox and his crew. Like this is supposed to be Harald's backstory. Harald only shows up in like a few panels in this chapter. Like Oda's really doing a thing where he's trying to make sure Harald does appear in each chapter, but like in this one, he's like barely in it, right? So we didn't really have that with Odin. We didn't really have a chapter of Odin's backstory where like Odin's only in it for like 1 or 2 panels and everything else is about Roger, or everything else was about Whitebeard. Have you already debunked the D meaning Davy Jones? I mean, like, how do you debunk? We don't know what the Will of D is yet. It could be. We don't know. We have to wait until, like, I guess that'll be debunked when Oda reveals what the Will of D is. Will Barry return normal ever again? I don't know. He's a vampire now. He's been enjoying the vampire lifestyle for almost a year. So we can maybe get there at some point. Maybe he'll go back to, maybe we'll Domi Reversi Barry back to the way he was. I got my Vampire Berry plushie 3 days ago. Yes, thank you. I'm so glad people are getting them. That was very stressful because I was irritated because like people ordered something and it was outside of my control and outside of the company's control. It was because of the tariff shit. But like, you know, people ordered a thing and it was supposed to be here by April and now it's August. Although I guess if there's one silver lining out of all of this shit, it's that it is pretty close to the Halloween season to loop back around. So you'll have your vampire berries ready for Halloween. There you go. Yeah. RTS 699. Thanks for the $5. I'm sticking with the D, meaning the half moon for right now. So that's the fun thing about the Will of D. Like, there's so many different interpretations. It's almost like, though, I want Oda to go through every single theory and then figure out something that isn't one of the theories. You know, because it's like one of those things. It's like you put a bunch of monkeys typing in a typewriter and they'll eventually make the great works of Shakespeare if you have like 1 million monkeys typing for 1 million years. It's kind of like the thing where somebody on the internet has probably guessed what the Will of D is at this point, right? Like there's like every single possible facet and idea has been kind of introduced. So like whatever the D is going to be, it almost feels like it's going to be lackluster. And I should make a video about this. I don't know. I was thinking about it before because like how manga has changed. I was talking to my friend Patrick about this a little while ago. How the idea of manga has changed since like Toriyama in the 80s, you know, or like any mangaka right back in the day. Like, can you imagine, like, I don't know, Araki writing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure back in the late 80s into the 90s? The internet existed, but it wasn't like what it is now. So you could, like, he could do whatever he wanted with, like, big reveals and JoJo's. And, like, yeah, people would probably be talking about it online, but it would be super limited and, like, dial-up and shit like that. Nowadays, every time Oda introduces a character, there's like 57 different like theories on who this character is, and like, oh, Kyo is the traitor. Kyo's the traitor immediately because of this reason, this reason, this reason, and this reason. And Oda, you know, probably a few times, Oda is sitting there looking at it, just being like, yeah, shit, they guessed it, like, immediately. Like, immediately. Like, even going back to, like, when Road was like, I'm looking at the image of Road next to the sun god. I'm like, Road is the sun god, isn't it? You know? And, like, Oda might have been like, well, I figured it out. And it's like, okay, there it is. You know? Yeah. Let's say Tommy, quit spamming in the chat or I will time you out. We don't spam here in the chats. How much super salt does Sanji have left, I wonder? Sanji would have died if he existed back in that time period. If Sanji time travels, if we ever do One Piece movie Sanji, where Sanji time travels back to the Rocks era, he would just die upon impact. There was too many beautiful women, right? Yeah. They probably didn't expect to be able to read so many reviews. Yeah, like there was things like reviews and critics back then, certainly. Shonen Jump, I think even back in that era, had like, you know, viewer polls to like write in what you think about certain manga, and I'm sure the mangakas read all that. Just the volume exploded, right? You have like millions of fans all over the world trying to figure out what the One Piece is. A few people probably guessed it right, I would assume. What are your thoughts on Dragon being married into the, the monkey family? So, like, Dragon was Garp's son. That is something that has been established. Yeah. Yeah, he is Garp's son. Yeah, Garp even straight up says to Aokiji, like, my son joined the revolutionaries! God dang it! You know, so, yeah, Garp is Dragon's father. Yeah. Classic theory, though. I've seen it before. Yeah, that's a classic theory. You already know the One Piece is sitting on your table. What, this thing? Oh, check this out. So me and my mom went to L.A. the last weekend to a convention, a Friday the 13th convention, and it was really cool. I got to meet like the actors that played Jason and like Ken Kersinger and Kane Hodder and everybody. That was really cool. I got a bunch of signatures and things. But there was also a lot of like vendors selling stuff, and I got this. There was a person selling these really cool like little sets. And I'm like, oh my God, this would look so cool on my table next to Barry. So Barry now has like a little mini graveyard next to him at all times. That was really cool, I thought. Yeah. Oh, I also got it. This is fucking great. I got to tell you this. Okay. So this is One Piece related. So it's a tangent, but it is a story. I'll get through it really quick. It's not a very long story. Okay. Is it edible? No. Well, wait a minute. No, it's not edible. All right. So this is just really funny. So me and my mom were in Hollywood. We were walking around Hollywood. We were on the Walk of Fame and stuff like that. And we didn't know this, but on Sundays in like Western Hollywood, I think, they close off part of the road and they just turn it into a farmer's market. So we're walking on the Wall of Fame and then on the Walk of Fame, and then all of a sudden we get to this fucking like farmer's market in the middle of nowhere. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So we started walking through this farmer's market. And I'm like, man, this stuff looks so good. Like there were onions that were like this big and like giant Elbathian carrots and tomatoes and stuff. I bought some like almond butter. That was really cool. We had these like fresh pastries that were great. You know, I had this raisin bread that was really good. My mom got like this big thing of cinnamon rolls that she brought on the plane with her, actually. You know, it was really good stuff, right? Well, anyway, there was this one lady that my mom and me went to her little tent, and she was selling like cashews and almonds in like bags and stuff like that. And she was really fun. She was really cool. So we were chatting with her for a bit. And then, my mom bought some cashews. I got some stuff. And then we were about to leave. And I was like, oh, hey, thank you so much. What's your name? And she's like, Sanji. And we're like, huh. And I'm like, okay. And then I had to tell her, was like, I don't know if you've ever read One Piece, but it's a really popular series, and there's a character named Sanji. And she's like, oh my God, that's so funny. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, how do you spell it? Sanji? And she's like, no, it's Sonji. And I'm like, okay, well, nice to meet you, Sanji. And then me and my mom left. That was so great, though. That is so awesome. So shout out to Sanji at the Hollywood Farmers Market, which today's Sunday, so she would be doing it today too. If you live in Hollywood, go to the farmers market that's there. There's a woman there named Sanji selling like cashews and almonds. There you go. What was the name of, hold on, I took a picture of the name of the farm. I don't know if it's her farm that she runs or she just sells them, but what was the name of it? Vision Sprouts. That was the name of it. Vision Sprouts. Yes, since 2005. Like, okay, there you go. There's the there's the name of it. Yeah, that was she was awesome. She was so cool. Yeah. Anyway, Rocks has Luffy's honesty and teaches ambition. Yeah, there's a little bit. Also, people have brought up Buggy, too. There's a little bit of Buggy in Rocks, too. I'm so happy Rocks' personality ended up being the way it was. Rocks is not just, like, insane. He's also not just, like, I'm evil, let's kill everything. You know, like, that's not it. He has morals. He has, like, a set of code that he follows. He really does. Yeah. When will I shave? I don't know. Like, I shaved a little bit last night. I don't like it going a little bit too up here, so I'll, like, shave that, you know, and I trim down here a little bit, especially when it starts getting a little bit, like, when the whiskers start getting a little bit too long, I'll, like, shave that, yeah. I have a new issue, though, that I've never had before in my life, and it's like I have like an electric razor, but I don't like shaving in my bathroom because then I get hair, like my beard hair all over the sink, and I hate that. So whenever I have to trim my mustache or my little scruff here, I'll go outside on my back porch and take a mirror and my trimmer, and I'll do it outside so I don't have to worry about getting, I'm like OCD with that. I don't like hair being in my sink or like around the toilet or anything. Like, I don't like that. Yeah. No, I mean shave. Yeah, I know what you meant. I don't know. Not yet. Don't feel like it yet. Yeah. All right, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about Shockey a bit, because this is something great. People, and I understand it's a joke, and I get the joke. Be like, oh my God, so the entire God Valley battle was over a woman? Oda, this is getting ridiculous. This is the dumbest twist ever. I'm like, Oda takes so many references from other stories and tropes and mythology. The idea of an entire war being fought over a woman is a not just like a once-off trope. It happens a few times in myth and legend. It fits in the One Piece world, trust me. It fucking does. I wish I would have brought it up, because as I was doing the review, I was like, this sounds a little bit like, oh, whatever, doesn't matter. I should have brought up Helen of Troy, because Helen of Troy is an exact example of this, okay? There's also a few other stories. There's a story of, there's the tale of Genji. There's a woman named Akashi in Japanese myth, where these aren't necessarily all about wars that were fought over a woman exactly in the same way Helen of Troy was, but the idea of like, oh, she was like a courtesan in like the, you know, like the harem or the court or whatever, and then like battles could be fought over that, considering who her like marriage proposals were about. You can even kind of argue the War of the Roses a little bit, with Elizabeth of York's proposal and stuff like that. Like, you can argue wars have been fought you know, over women before. This is not like, oh my God, this is such a ridiculous plot twist, this is dumb. It's like, no, this is storytelling at its finest right here. Yep. Yeah. Game of Thrones with Robert's Rebellion. Yes. And George R.R. Martin loved basing shit off of like the fight with like, you know, the Greeks and the Persians and the Romans and the Carthaginians. Like, George R.R. Martin goes on record talking about the shitload of different historical references that are in Game of Thrones. Like, some of them are pretty obvious. Like, the wall is basically Hadrian's Wall that divided like Scotland and like England. Like, that's where the wall comes from. Like, he just bases so many things. Like, even just kind of looking at Westeros, it's kind of just a scaled up like, you know, a United Kingdom, pretty much like the British Isles and everything like that, right? So anyway, yeah, he took references from that, from other stories beforehand. There it is, right? Like, it's there. It would explain why Roger showed up. Shaki was just that beautiful, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, this is not like a twist that's like, oh my God, Oda, this twist is so dumb. And it's such the stupidest, like, childish, like, twist ever. Like, no, it shows up a lot in fiction and in real history. It's not a crazy thing. Which character do you want the most to return? Eneru. If I could push a button and have a character come back soon, it would be Eneru. Wars have been fought. They have. There's a joke from Futurama that I have to maybe, I don't know if I could get away with playing it, the whole thing. It's the episode. Remember the episode where Fry has the relationship with the Lucy Liu robot? So there's an episode of Futurama. This is relevant to One Piece. There's an episode of Futurama where Fry starts like going to this place where you can get a robot that can be modeled after like an actress, like a famous person. And so he goes and gets a robot modeled after Lucy Liu. And Lucy Liu was the guest actress for the episodes. That's why she was there. And Fry starts dating a robot. And the professor plays this video that would play for like middle school students that are going through puberty. Like, you know, don't date robots. And it goes through this whole thing where if everybody dates robots, then everybody gets exactly what they want in a relationship, then all of society just grinds to a halt immediately. And there's a line in the video that says, you know, every single thing that people ever did in history was to impress the opposite sex. And it lists like, you know, war and politics and like every single thing. You know, and it's like, okay, like that is like, if all that goes away, then the world ends. It's like, all right, that was immediately kind of what I thought with that. Yeah. I want to make out with my Monroe bot, my Marilyn Monroe bot. Yes, yeah. Futurama's the best. Futurama's great. What's your time zone? I'm in the Eastern time zone. Dragon founded the Revolutionary Army 22 years ago. So he founded the Revolutionary Army 22 years ago, but he did have the freedom fighters before that, because Kuma was reading a newspaper like 25, 26 years ago that mentioned Dragon as his freedom fighter force. Okay, now that was before. It was just a small ragtag group at that point. It wasn't the whole army that it was. Yeah. Futurama's great. I just wish they wouldn't have brought it back the last time. Futurama was amazing, and then it ended the first time, and I like that was like that. It shouldn't have ended. It got canceled. and then they brought it back as the movies, and then they brought it back the second time, and then after that ending, when Fry and Leela like freeze time and they're just walking around the world together, and that's how it ended. That was the perfect fucking ending for that show. They should have never brought it back. All right. Because the shittiest thing is the episode that immediately followed that finale when they brought it back with Hulu. The first episode was one of the worst episodes of Futurama I've ever seen in my life. Okay, it was painful to watch that episode. The one where Fry is trying to binge watch all of this stupid like soap opera thing. That was following up one of the best finales ever. Like, this is what we're continuing it with. This is bad. It was not good. Yeah, I know. New season in 3 weeks. I know. I stopped watching it. Futurama was great when I was like growing up, and then when it came back and when I was in college, it was amazing. My favorite episode of Futurama is the late Philip J. Fry. I think it's also Matt Groening and a lot of other people's. Like, it's a really good episode, and that was when the second revival happened. It was really good. I guess, well, I don't know if you count the movies as the first revival and then the seasons as the second revival, and then this is the third revival, I guess. I don't know. Make a return character poll and put Geen, Eneru, and the egg from Roger's ship on it. Yeah, the egg, people have said the egg might be Shocky's bar. Let me show you this really quick. So Shocky's ripoff bar, it looks the same as it does on Hachinosu, as it does on the Sabaody Archipelago. Like, the overall architecture and the door frames and the window frames and the layout, it looks like the same exact building, so it probably is. But there is one exemption, and that is this giant orb that's on top of it. All right, that is a new addition that was not there at Hachinosu. At Hachinosu, it kind of just ends right at you see behind the sign, there's that little like crisscross pattern that goes around it. That's sort of where it ended at Hachinosu, and that whole part on top of it is new. Okay, so people have said, what if that's the egg from Roger's ship? I don't think it's maybe big enough to be the egg, and I think it's the wrong shape. But yeah. The orb is the egg! It also could just be because Sabaody Archipelago. Like, yeah, the Sabaody Archipelago is all about bubbles and orbs and things. Round objects appear a lot on the Sabaody Archipelago. So it makes sense that Shocky would add an orb to it. Yeah. Yeah, it might just be the living space. Yeah, it might just be where Rayleigh and Shocky get it on. They need a master bedroom too, you know? Yeah. The Bachelor Den. It's Rayleigh's man cave. That's what it is. It's Rayleigh's man cave. All Sabaody buildings had bubbles on them. Yeah, yeah. How do you think Garp will escape Hachinosu? He's gonna flex his muscles. That's it. That's how he's going to escape. He's just going to flex his muscles once. I think the egg is some ancient thing from the Void Century. Well, Garp, I mean, Roger had it even at his earliest point. Like, even when he was sailing around 30 years old, before he had even reached Lodestar, when he was still in the middle of the journey, the egg was still there. So the egg did not come from Laugh-Tale. The egg did not come from Lodestar. The egg existed back when he was not like at the very beginning of his journey, because we don't know how old Roger was when he started his journey. We know how he looked. He looked a lot like Luffy when he started the journey. He could have been 17 like Luffy was. He could have been in his early 20s. But we certainly know that the egg existed by the time we got to, Roger in his 30s. What if Kaido was from the bloodline of the Galila ancient giants, which could be relevant to the fact that he was being researched at the same place? Could be. I mean, I think like the Galila ancient giants, Kaido is an ancient giant, so maybe not the same exact like family, but the bloodline is there, so that's why he was being researched, yeah. Do we think the egg has hatched yet? What has the egg become? I don't know. I mean, it might have hatched, it might not have. Loki being able to tell the flashback... That's funny. It's just amazing. Yeah, I've seen a lot of funny jokes about Hiruden questioning Loki. Of like, I saw one Artor posted like, it's like, Loki, what does any of this have to do with Dad's death? It's like, listen, it's very important I tell you just how curvy and attractive Shocky was. This is relevant to the story, brother. Hold on. I think Loki's just trolling Hiruden at this point. By the way, I love the fact that egg exists, because the egg is never referenced in the story. Not a single fucking character ever mentions, hey, Roger, why do you have this giant egg on your ship? Never brought up, never mentioned. Narrator never says anything. It's just in the background, and Oda's just like, I'm not saying anything about that goddamn egg. The fans figure out what it's there for. I'm not ever even mentioning the damn Yoshi egg, you know? Which that's what it does look like. It does look like a Yoshi egg. Yeah. How'd you know about the parts you weren't there for? The egg is Panda Man. Had to tell when Roger got his crush taken. Oh, that's right. Wait a minute. What if it was after? What if after Roger died, that's when Rayleigh hooked up with Shockey? Rayleigh just couldn't bring himself to like get together with Shockey when Roger was still alive. That would have hurt him too bad. Then again, at that point, Roger was already with Rouge, so like, I'm sure at maybe some point Roger and maybe he's like, you know what? I fell in love with Rouge instead, you know? What do I make for dinner tonight? I made this bang bang chicken recipe. There's a YouTuber. Anybody ever watch Sam the Cooking Guy? He's really good for cooking videos. It's Sam the Cooking Guy and Josh Weissman are the two people I watch on YouTube a lot for cooking and recipes and stuff. I made this bang bang chicken. It is so damn good. It's one of his most recent videos. Go to Sam's channel and look it up. It's not hard to make. It just takes some preparation. You got to deep fry a little bit of stuff, so you have to have like a wok, and also you have to marinate the chicken for a bit. But dude, oh my god, it's so damn good. It is so good. Yeah, Sam is goated. Josh is goated. They're both really good. Those two are like, I've made, I'm not going to say every single thing I've made, but there's been a lot of people on YouTube. I've followed the recipe and I can't really there's like a expertise curve where I do fuck it up. Those two, whenever they do recipes, the way they explain it is so good. I have very rarely ever had a recipe absolutely monumentally fail because of my lack of experience of the way that they explain how everything goes. And they show the step-by-step process, okay? So they're definitely really good. Yeah. Got any plans for October this year? Ooh. I'll probably have to film something Halloween related. I'll figure out something. You know, a few years ago, I did a choose your own adventure Halloween series. Do you remember that? I did I was dressed up as Vampire Teching, and I filmed it in my basement back when I lived at my mom's place. And I did this like choose your own adventure thing where you had to pick like, do you go into the forest or do you stay in the car? Do you go into the creepy house or do you wander into the field? Do you go into the basement or do you go upstairs into the attic? Like, and I made like 50 videos that were like, you know, you clicked on a video and it goes to the other video and it like navigates. That was really fun to make. It was a pain in the ass to edit, but it was really fun to make. I might do one of those again because I was rewatching those recently and I'm like, man, that was actually really fun to make. And with YouTube, with some new features YouTube has, it might actually be easier to do that now. So I don't know. I'll think about it. Could you share the name of those two YouTube channels? Sam the Cooking Guy and Josh Weissman. That's like literally what Weissman. I might have mispronounced his name or misspelled his name, but it's just Sam the Cooking Guy. Or you could probably just type in cooking Sam and then cooking Josh, and probably the first things will come up. They each have millions of subscribers. Yeah. I got killed in the shed at the final choice. Yeah, I remember that. That was really fun. That was really fun to make. Macon Toast. I need to bring Macon Toast back, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, a Halloween-themed version of the tournament. Oh, where like tournaments show up, you know, where we have like a, so yeah, I could maybe do that where maybe like other characters, like horror movie characters also show up to fight One Piece characters. That would be funny. Oh, Uncle Roger. Yeah, I've made some stuff from Uncle Roger's channel too. I've made fried rice once in my wok. It turned out okay. It was serviceable, but I get frustrated whenever I make something and it's like, there's some things where it gets scrapped altogether, but then there's other things where I'll make it and it'll be like, this is just meh. And I don't think it should be meh. I feel like this should be like a 7 or an 8, but I ended up with a 5, so I did something wrong. So I have to go back and workshop it a bit. Dude, when we were in California, we ate at Bubba Gump Shrimp. It's a household name. So we ate at Bubba Gump Shrimp, and they garlic bread they sold it at Bubba Gump's is so good. It's like crack. Like, and so I bought some. I bought a baguette upstairs, and I'm actually going to make that today. I found a recipe online. I'm actually probably going to make that. Oh, I'm gonna try making that maybe right after this because that was really fun. That was really good stuff. Yeah, yeah. That place is good. Yeah. Sounds delicious. It was really good. It was really good, yeah. When Roger was fighting Rox on God Valley, we should probably move it back to One Piece now. When Roger was fighting Rox on God Valley, Rayleigh freed Shockey and made such a scene when he earned him the title of the Dark King. Yeah. There's a lot of debates on exactly why Rayleigh has that title. People have been thinking about Rayleigh having just armament hockey. That might have been the reason. But it might also just be because, like, he was the king, then, like, Shockey was the queen. It could be that. That seems to be the idea of how it's going now. How would react to trick-or-treaters? Oh, that would be funny. Yeah, like, so let's do a Halloween-themed one. I think that is, like, when the next tournament should be, is in October, so we'll do that, yeah. You are definitely hungry. I woke up, like, a little late today, and so all I've had is, like, this little, like, Cliff Bar peanut butter thing that I eat. So this was my breakfast, this and my vitamins, and that was it. Yeah. Sanji, after finding the All Blue, should make a YouTube channel. He just makes a cooking channel. Yeah, I think I would watch a Sanji cooking channel for sure, yeah. Does Rayleigh's title written the same as Zoro's? What do you mean written the same as Zoro's? Like in kanji or in katakana? Because Zoro's titles are like... Are you talking about King of Hell? I don't know if Zoro's title is really King of Hell. That's more of Enma's, like, sobriquet or whatever it's called. Do you still hit the gym? I went on Tuesday. So, I was really good at the beginning of the year. I was going, like, every other day, and now it's, like, once or twice a week. Yeah, Zoro's titles are, like, Pirate Hunter. That's his only proper epithet. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, after the events of this flashback, I don't think anybody can shit on Sanji anymore. Like, say whatever you want. Say whatever you want. But, like, after what we've seen here about what's going to go down at God Valley with Rox and Roger and everybody just fawning over Shockey, nobody can give Sanji any shit anymore. All right? Yeah, I'm going to go back to the Super Chats. Don't worry about it, Dart. It'll be all right. They're all saved. They're all saved. Sanji has been upscaled. Yeah, there we go. Overthrown of the Roman monarchy. Yeah, there's so many references, Lucretia. There's so many references you can look at. Yeah. So I might just do the next video I make, maybe talking about like what God Valley is going to be if we're going to see it. Do you think we're going to see God Valley? Let's do a poll on that. Let's do a poll. Will we see all of God Valley in this flashback? Yes. No. Go. What could Sanji do in the current situation if he won't unlock Conqueror's Haki? He can kick the God's Knights really hard, and he also has, like, armor for skin. So there we go. There we go. No. Oh, it's getting close. It's very dead even. I don't think this flashback, but definitely in the next one. Ooh, please, teching geography. When we are done with Elbaf, we'll do an Elbaf geography. I want to wait until the end of. I'll do a God Valley geography as everything as soon as we know more about the geography of the island. The chance of the egg on Roger's ship was just a ship feature. You could try scrambled eggs with bacon bits. I've done that. Actually, I have these little egg bowl things that you can buy that come with like little packets of like cheese and peppers and onions and things. And then you just crack an egg in them. They're really great to eat at night when I'm just like, I need a snack and I'm just hungry and I just want to eat something. So you just crack an egg in there and put some cheese. And then I also mix some bacon bits in there, like some fresh bacon, like you have to put in the fridge and like little bacon bits and then mix them in there with some pepper and some onions. And they're really good. Really good. It's just like a little omelet bowl, but it's like it really is great. Curbs the hunger. We still don't even know what the heaven layer is. Yeah, we haven't even been up there yet. I made a video talking about it, like what it could possibly be, but yeah, we don't know. I threw out the idea that it might be like the far plane from Final Fantasy X, where you can go up there and like not really talk to the ghosts of people that are dead, but like you can see the images. Like you are projecting your loved ones and you can see them. So like Luffy would walk in and project Ace, but it's not really Ace. It's not really Ace's ghost that's going to give him advice. It's just he projects Ace as he views him, and like if Luffy really wanted Ace to tell him like, hey Luffy, you were a good little brother, I love you, kind of things, right? That's the kind of stuff that Ace would say, but it's not really him. Yeah, that would be kind of interesting. Maybe where it's where the elders that told Harald. I think the elders just kind of live in the separate villages, and then there's maybe a meeting place for all of them. Maybe that was in the Heaven Lair. It's possible. I feel like the Heaven Lair is going to be where only the giants go that die. I feel like that's going to be, considering it's a giant tree, I don't know if there's like a conventional graveyard or a cemetery. I feel like it's probably going to be like, this is where the giants that die go. Then again, when Yorl died, Yorl's grave was just outside the village, so I don't know if his body was like cremated or that's just a memorial. It might have just been a memorial. It might have not have been where he was actually buried, you know? It's Valhalla, basically. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been looking at it as. Do you think we'll get a Dio Devil Fruit? It's Zaworldo! Zaworldo! Zaworldo no me! I can't see anything really forcing the story to go to the Heaven Lair. I mean, well, Oda introduced it as a concept, so it's probably going to be revealed. That'd be so weird if it's like, there are 3 levels to Elbaf. The Primordial Realm, the Sun Realm, and the Heaven Realm. And then the story ends, and it's like, we never found out what the Heaven Realm was. Like, well, what was the Heaven Realm? It's like, oh, it wasn't important. Like, oh, okay. Foxy sort of has the world. He kind of does. He kind of does, yeah. I want Robin to defeat a God's Knight. Eventually, we'll get there. I think, well, I mean, eventually the Straw Hats are going to have to get stronger. Maybe this is the point where they all learn hockey. I think they could have probably made an argument to make, like Oda could have had them learn hockey way back at, like, Wano or Dressrosa, and I think it would have been fine. But sure, fine. If you want to teach Robin armament hockey right now or Conquerors, go for it. I don't care. There's a concerning amount of deadbeat fathers in One Piece. Well, there's a concerning amount of deadbeat fathers in the real world, too. I mean, there's a lot of people that skip out. At least in the One Piece world. I think Dragon has a pretty good excuse. Like, really? Like, Yasop, not so much. Yasop is just like, I want to go out to sea and be a pirate. So, have fun raising our child by yourself, my wife, later, bye. Like, that is, like, I'm going to go out for a pack of cigarettes and never coming back again. Like, that is Yasop. At least Dragon is like, I want to end slavery. So, like, at least that's, like, a noble cause, right? Like, yeah. Let's go through some, Yasop is a worse dad than Judge. I mean, depends on how, like, the criteria, you know? Because Judge straight up, like, abused Sanji by locking him in a dungeon and keeping an iron mask on his head, but, like, Yasop did just skip out. I would say Judge might be the shittier dad there in that regard. Because Yasop didn't abuse his son, he just abandoned him. So what's worse, abuse or abandonment? Abuse or neglect? Pick your poison on that, I suppose. All right. Let's go to the Super Chats here. See what we got here. Let's see. Answered that one. Answered that one. Got my Vampire Berry plushie to go with the original one. Awesome. Thanks for the 20. What if Kaido... I answered that one about the Ancient Giants. I got a lot of these. Make a return character poll. Gin and Eneru, I mean, they're in the opening of the new... They're in Carmine. They're in the new opening of One Piece. You see them at Hachinosu. They're there. They're there. So that's pretty cool. Who created the Revolutionary Army? Guess probably something to do with Joy Boy. So there were probably multiple revolutionary armies throughout history. The world government has been in control for over 800 years. I doubt Dragon is the first guy that was like, we should fight back against them. The authoritarian government that rules everything. You know, I'm sure there were other armies before Dragon. They just didn't get very far. Or maybe they did get far, but they ultimately failed. Maybe there was a revolution 500 years ago that almost managed to do it and overthrow the Tenryubito, but then the final battle came and they lost. Could have been that. Yeah, Dragon is giving it a shot, though. He's making waves. Rock says Luffy's honesty and Teach's ambition. That is something there. There's definitely similarities. Answered that one. Garp is definitely Dragon's father and also Luffy's grandfather. My theory is that Rocks was turned into stone by the previous user of the Mera no Mi. Blackbeard wanted the fruit to bring his father back. Oh, that's an interesting one. Petrification. Because if anyone's petrified by Boa, then I guess they'd stop aging. It's the same thing with like D&D petrification and kind of shit like that, right? The only thing is, if what Boa is said during that when Blackbeard was attacking Amazon Lily is true, the new user of the Mera no Mi cannot unpetrify people petrified by the previous user of the fruit. Now, Boa might have just been lying about that, so Blackbeard doesn't kill her and take her fruit, or just to mess with him, because she's not going to help Blackbeard out, right? So it's kind of up in the air exactly how it functions, but maybe it could. If it could free people, at least it makes sense if Blackbeard went after the Mera no Mi at Amazon Lily, right? Yeah. Tritoma being Crocodile. I mean, it's funny as a joke. I don't think Tritoma is Crocodile. The new anime opening. Yeah, I got to talk about that. I got to do a video about that. Carmine is a really good opening. I was listening to it all week as like my background track. I have it on my playlist. And then the song that replaced it just yesterday was the Exorcism song from Dan Da Dan. That... Holy fucking shit, that is a good song. All right? That Exorcism song! Like, that is so damn good. Like, just go watch that, please. Oh, dude. Will Barry return to normal? I don't know. Maybe someday. Let's see. Davy Jones, we talked about that. Blackbeard having multiple devil fruits if he just feeds it to the rings. That's a theory that's been around for a while, too. Honestly, it makes sense. It's just kind of a boring answer. It's just like Blackbeard's the only person that figured out, wait a minute, Zeha, I could combine devil fruit powers with objects and rings. Like, that's kind of lame to me. I kind of wouldn't want that to be the reveal. Do you think Garp had other strong Marines under him other than Bogard? And do you think Sengoku and Garp were closer to each other in powers? Or was it more of a Helmeppo Kobe deal? Oh yeah, no, Sengoku and Garp were definitely approximate in terms of power. It's just that Garp ended up with a mythical zone, so his abilities, his movesets were a little different, but definitely close in terms of power. And so also, yeah, I mean, there was Bogard, but there was also Kuzan. Kuzan was a follower of Garp. I'm sure there was a few people that Garp taught and trained. Bogard, Kuzan, Kobe, Helmeppo, and then, there was some few others. I don't know if we know the names of them. We can maybe look through some of the older members of the Vice Admirals, like some of the older Vice Admirals. Let me look them up really quick here. So there's a lot of Vice Admirals in One Piece. So if we look at some that are like maybe in their 50s or around Kuzan's age, like Onigumo looks kind of old. Let's see. Doberman even looks kind of old. Maybe he taught him a little bit. Pomsky maybe. Maybe Guillotine or something. I don't know. These ones don't look super old. Bluegrass is pretty old. But yeah, I'm not really sure. But I'm sure there was a few others, yeah. The One Piece crack theory, I answered that one already. Thanks, anime fan. Loki's devil fruit just allows him to talk super fast. Wouldn't it be great if we go back and it compresses like 4 hours into 3 minutes? Like that's the power of Loki's devil fruit. Yeah. Multiple souls theory or hearts theory. That's a possibility. Goon Valley 2.0 not happening in Luffy's generation. Well, I mean, she's in her 60s now. I mean, she's still very attractive, but when she was like 22, she was like, like Nami radiant, I guess that's the joke. Although I guess it'll happen again with Nami. That's the idea. Which flashback is better? Existing or Odin or Harald? In terms of information, Harald's is better. Yeah, in terms of that criteria. I think Harald will defend Rocks, and then one of the God's Knights will kill him, maybe. It also seems like Harald was working with the government like 14 years ago when he was murdered, so maybe there was some deal with the government that was made. I don't know. These are the ones we answered at the beginning. I think I answered all these. Yes, I did. I got all these. All right. Have you ever played a Yakuza game before? No, I have not. I think I saw the trailer for one once. It did look kind of fun. I love your content. Do you think Oda still has some plans for Arouge? Yeah, Arouge is going to show up at some point. When and how, I have no idea, but Oda's not going to completely forget about one of the supernovas. There's only one left that has to be explored. He'll reference him. What do you think about Blackbeard being Gloriosa's son? Maybe Gloriosa decided to get with Rox after realizing she can't get with Roger. Ooh, maybe. Maybe. Rox is going to be a daddy in like a couple of years here, so somebody had to be the mom, right? And he spends a lot of time with, the Rox crew, and Gloriosa's on the Rox crew, so maybe they got together. And that was just the same question twice. But thanks for the 10. Yeah, thanks for the 10. I am Sentinel Prime. And in terms of the poll, we have a winner. We have, yes, 52% believe that God Valley will occur in this flashback. Blackbeard cannot be her son. The timeline doesn't add up. What do you mean the timeline doesn't add up? Blackbeard was born 40 years ago. Gloriosa and Rox were on the same crew 40 years ago. This was before God Valley, so they would have been together. Yeah, Gloriosa was 42 years ago with the Rox crew. She was still with the Rox crew at God Valley. Gloriosa isn't pregnant. What do you mean? We haven't seen that part of the story yet. 42 years ago, she wouldn't have been pregnant. 38 years ago is after Blackbeard's birth. She wouldn't have been pregnant. We would have to see her at 39 years ago. 41 years ago. Exactly. Also, Big Mom should be constantly pregnant, and we don't see her as pregnant. So that also kind of throws like a monkey wrench in it. Like, Big Mom at this point should be constantly pregnant because she's popping out kids every single year. Yeah. How old is Rox in this flashback? I'm putting him at the same age as like Roger and Garp at this time, so probably in let's see, Garp is 78, so minus 42, he'd be 36. I'm putting mid-30s to maybe early 40s for Rox. Yeah. Like popcorn. They were testing your history knowledge. Yes. Don't come to me about One Piece timelines. I know my timelines. Missed my super chat. All right, Malik, hold on a moment. That's why we have this. Dad tier list. All right, well, people ask me that all the time. But yes, I will maybe do the dad tier list at some point. Yasop never disowned his kid. So let me ask you a question. So there's a term. There's two terms. There's de facto and then there's de jure. De facto means in practice, but not like on paper, like not officially, but in practice it is this thing. De jure is the opposite. So officially, but not in practice, all right? Yasop left Usopp and Banchino when Usopp was like 6 or 7 and ran off to the sea. Actually, maybe earlier than that, and ran off to be on Rocks, not be off on Shanks's pirate crew. Okay, so Usopp, since he was like 6 years old, his dad abandoned him, and it's been like 14 years now. So that's pretty much abandonment. You could call it whatever the fuck you want. His dad left him and he hasn't seen him in like over like a decade. That's fucking abandonment. I don't care whatever the classification of like disownment is or whatever. He's not around. I might have mixed up those two terms too, whatever. But it doesn't matter. It's one or the other. There's in practice, but not on paper, and then on paper, but not in practice. What Straw Hat would you place as captains in Bleach? Probably Jinbei would be. Jinbei gives me like Komamura vibes, doesn't he? Yeah, Jinbei gives me the vibes of like Sajin Komamura. He would be a very noble, loyal kind of captain, the kind of guy you would like to be your captain. I did this before. I went through all the captains in Bleach. The only one that I would want to actually be part of as their squad is Komamura. Literally all the other ones are not great, but Komamura, he would be one I would want to be part of. Yeah. Like, not to say all the captains are shit, but like Komamura is the best option, authoritatively. Yeah. Shunsui versus Moria would be amazing. That would be cool. That would be a really fun fight because of the Kage Oni. Yeah. I should just do a video about that. Bleach captains versus One Piece characters. The problem is in Bleach, like, they're like souls and they have like higher endurance and shit and they can tank way more damage. Like, if a character in Bleach gets like half of their body ripped apart, like, they could still survive that, but in One Piece, they're kind of dead. Like, I've seen characters in One Piece, characters in Bleach survive wounds that are like when Ace got donutted, you know? like that, so that's, you know. Shouldn't strong hockey negate any devil fruit, even boas? Yeah, but boa also has really strong hockey too. So you have to be like overwhelmingly powerful hockey to the other person. So yeah. Unohana, I wouldn't want to be in the 4th division because that's a lot of work. And also, like, you know, you're in the medical unit and other squads are constantly shitting on you. And Unohana is kind of scary. So it would be like, I wouldn't want to be in the 4th division. That's too much, like, responsibility and shit. And you get yelled at constantly by, like, the 11th squad and shit. So I wouldn't want to be in the 4th division, yeah. I wouldn't want to be in Yamamoto's squad either. That's too much. That's too much intimidation. It's interesting the way that hockey is talked about as overcoming devil fruit abilities. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Law was able to negate the devil fruit effect of Doc Q's sick fruit. But yeah, Odin was not able to use hockey to break the barrier. So it's not, like, the rule is not just, if you have strong hockey, you can negate anything about devil fruits. That is not the rule, because we've seen that. But you can negate some things with devil fruits, depending on what the effect is. I think of the rule is if the devil fruit is doing something to affect you. Kind of like in D&D, when you have to make, like, a wisdom saving throw or be charmed, you have, like, advantage on the saving throw, or you get the saving throw to begin with, right? But with Seimaru using the barrier fruit, that wasn't him affecting Odin. That wasn't, like, him going and affecting Odin's body. That was making a barrier around him, all right? So that kind of makes sense. So I was going through the original 13 captains. I don't think I did it. I don't think I talked about it with Shinji and the other members of the Vizards. Shinji's squad wouldn't be too bad to be in. Rose's squad might be a little weird. The vibes might be a little strange. Kensei's would be too intense. Kensei's would be like, it's like MMA training like every single day. Yeah. Would Rox and Kenpachi be friends? Yeah, I think they would be. Fuck, I think they would be, yeah. Toshiro's squad? I don't know, man. Rangiku's in that squad. I feel like I wouldn't get any work done. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, you know, it would just be like constant distraction. it wouldn't work. Who's winning in a fight of Kenpachi versus Roxy? That's the thing. Like, Kenpachi would win. Kenpachi has lived for like 1,000 years and is like a soul and has like way higher endurance than any human being in the One Piece world even. So Kenpachi would absolutely decimate Roxy. He would like slice him in half or go Bankai and cut him in half. Nozarashi would destroy him. It would completely obliterate Rox's soul. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But like, if we even them out and they say they were on, like, even keel. Like, maybe Rox dies and goes and becomes a Shinigami, and so Rox is a Shinigami, too. Maybe then we can see how it would go. Yeah. Sanji met Rangiku. Oh, God, yeah. Sanji would explode. His head would explode, his dick would explode, yeah. Do you think Kong has the mythical zone Son Wukong? Oh, that would be cool. That would be awesome if Kong had that, yeah. I want Kong to have that now. Confirmed. He turns into Ozaru. Kenpachi would still win equal stat. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, Kenpachi is like, I think just the terms of battle experience is absurd. Kenpachi's lived for 1,000 years. Rox has lived for like 40 most. if Idols is so highly regarded, do you think that leads people to Uta's island and then she trapped them in the dream world? Well, I don't know about that necessarily because the events of Film Red are going to be different, like if Uta is canon. But like I don't think like Elgia and stuff's going to be canon. But well, maybe it is, but it's not the same exact island. So if nothing else, though, you could look at Film Red being the precursor to this. Idols in One Piece. There are idols in One Piece now. Yep. Yeah, it turns out Kong just becomes monkey. He just turns into giant gorilla. He just turns into King Kong. Also, coincidentally, when I was at Hollywood, when we were in Hollywood, we went to a cemetery, Hollywood Forever Cemetery, because there was a grave of a comedian that I really liked, Trevor Moore, who was one of the founding members of The Whitest Kids You Know. And I watched their sketches all the time when I was in high school and college, and so he was buried there. So we saw his grave, but then also Fay Wray is buried in that cemetery, who was the actress that starred in King Kong. So I got to see Fay Wray's grave and a few other people, too, that are buried there. Burt Reynolds is buried there. I'm not really a big fan of Burt Reynolds, but my mom was, and so she saw his grave, and there's a few other people buried there. Yeah. A group of berries is called a lair. I've seen a house. I've seen a wall of berries. Yeah. Yeah. Kong is just great ape. Yeah. I know Toto's grave was there, and also Mel Blanc's grave was there, but it's a really big cemetery, and we didn't have a lot of time to spend there. But yeah, Mel Blanc, who originally the voice of Bugs Bunny, he's buried there as well, like the man of 1,000 voices. But I didn't get to see his grave. No. What's my favorite sandwich? I like a good BLT. Good BLT is good if it's made properly. Maybe Kong was just afraid of getting killed by rocks because there was another admiral that died. Oh, you're going to make the original, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, so like Zach and Jason. Nice. Yeah. No, I'm good, man. Thank you. But just enjoy it, man. Have fun meeting them. Do you think when Ichigo officially dies, he'll become a captain? Yeah, probably. I think he defaults in, or he goes to Squad Zero. I mean, one of the two. He kind of gets Ichigo when he finally dies as a human. He pretty much has carte blanche to have any position. You could say he's the head captain eventually, and he'd be like, fine, yeah. You should have a look at Time Magazine. There's a video about One Piece there. Oh, also, it's always fascinating. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can pull this up. Hold on. Yeah, this was something I saw earlier this week. Yeah, it's on the One Piece Reddit, so that makes sense. Tom Brady, who's used to be the quarterback for the New England Patriots, he was on a interview show talking about something, and it wasn't One Piece related, but he was wearing a One Piece shirt. So that's pretty crazy, actually. Tom Brady is I guess a One Piece fan, or at least Tom Brady owns a One Piece shirt. So that's something. If anybody's a fan of the New England Patriots, we hate the fucking New England Patriots because I'm living in Steeler country, but Tom Brady, I will admit, is probably one of the single best quarterbacks of all time. Credit where credit is due. He is very good, but we just hate the Patriots down here. Yeah. Dude, I remember there was one football game me and my dad went to, and this was years ago, and it was like one of the last games of the original season. It was in December, and it was the Patriots versus the Steelers, and it was in Pittsburgh. And we get to halftime, and the Steelers are losing, and it's not looking good. And then halftime, and then the second half starts, and then they come back, and they defeat the Patriots. They beat the Patriots, and everybody loses their shit. And me and my dad are walking back to our car. It's parked on the top level of this parking garage, literally on the roof of this parking garage. So we go back up, and it's nighttime, and we're taking pictures of Pittsburgh and the city skyline and everything like that. Everybody's having a good time. There's a group of people in a Jeep that are just getting just drinking next to us. That are they come back from the game, and they're just getting drunk with a cooler next to their Jeep, and they're just it's hey there, we're hey, yeah, it was a good game. It's yeah, we fucking did it. We beat their asses. faces, and I'm like, yeah, fuck Tom Brady, and they're just like, yeah, fuck Tom Brady. Like, they're just shouting at the top of their lungs on top of this fucking parking garage in Pittsburgh. So, yeah, there's that. But anyway, Tom Brady, One Piece fan. There you go. Captain John giving major First Commander vibes. I think his treasure will be 100% be important. I think he will hold major importance to rocks. Yeah. So Captain John probably stole all the treasure from them and probably hiding it somewhere, and it has yet to be found. So Captain John, he'll show up again. He's kind of in the background right now. Like, we're not really focusing on John too much. Maybe John was the Marine spy. Yeah, who do you think the spy is? It's probably Kyo, right? It's probably Silverax, right? Do I still remember Hado number 88? Was it 88 or was it 90 or 91? I remember the incantation. I learned the incantation for 91, the Senjin Koten Taiho, the one that Uehara used against Aizen. I remember learning the incantation for that. I don't remember what 88 is. 90 is Black Coffin. 91 is Senju Koten Taiho. 96 is Ito Kaso. And 99 is like the Gonryu 5-ring dragon thing. Kurohitsuji is 90. Yeah. Made a reversey. Shanks is bad. Blackbeard Rocks is actually good. I don't know. It depends. We have to learn how the whole mechanics of how this works. Here's another thing. People have said that, like, let's say Luffy uses his ability to turn the black pieces into the white pieces. That might not turn them back to the way they were originally. So instead of, like, evil Broggy, we then have, like, a Broggy that has, like, white hair and is, like, more free. Okay? And then has wacky abilities. But neither of them are the original form of Broggy. It might be something like that. We need some Wang! We need more Wang. Maybe Wang was the traitor. No, probably Wang's not the traitor. He ruled over Hachinosu for many years after that, so probably not the traitor, yeah. Have you seen the whole Oda drawing the Rurouni Kenshin sketch art tribute? Apparently JoJo's mangaka and Kubo did not participate in it. Yeah, I did see that. Well, no, I saw he drew the, there was, like, characters in the manga that were referenced from something way back in the day. I did see that, yeah. I don't know if I saw that one particularly, but I can see why they didn't participate. Caribou really just wanted to avenge his dad. I don't know about Caribou being Wang's child. I mean, Wang might have fucked. You know, Wang is Wang, you know, so maybe he has multiple children. I just think that, like, okay, Caribou and Korobo are Wang's kids. All right, I mean, I guess Caribou, like, is relevant to the story. Korobo is, like, whatever. But Caribou, he is part of this right now, right? Like, he's annoying, but he's part of this because he's at Hachinosu right now. He knows information about the poneglyphs and about the ancient weapons, and he's going to tell Blackbeard all that shit. He's going to tell them all about down in Fishman Island at there's a mermaid princess, and that's Shirahoshi, and she is Poseidon. And then he also knows a little bit about Uranus, and he also knows shit about Pluton because he was also there when the fucking reveal of Pluton being under the island was there. They know about all this shit. So that's going to be relevant, all right? And I don't know, what do you think Blackbeard's going to go next after Caribou drops this hot news on his lap? Like, what's going to happen, right? Yeah. I don't know. John was said to have been mutinied. Could it have been because his crew found out he was the mole and a Marine? Could be. That's the thing. That's what I'm thinking about. Like, John was mutinied. His corpse ends up on Thriller Bark. Yeah. I don't know. It would be very interesting if it was John, now that I'm actually thinking about it. Hold on, let's talk about Captain John here. Let me pull up an image of John. Hold on. Because, like, the more I think about this, Captain John is a guy that is just, we know really nothing about. He's a drunk. That's all we know about. He's a drunk. That's his defining character trait, all right? And it would be something that would be like, who is the traitor? It's going to be like the one you least suspect, right? It's going to be the one that, like, you don't necessarily know a lot about. So we know a lot about Whitebeard. We know a lot about Shiki. We know, well, at least Shiki had a movie. Big Mom and Kaido, probably not either of them. You know, okay, honestly, it does make sense for Stussy to be the fucking traitor. Stussy is a person that goes around stealing technology from people, and, like, she freeloads off of people, so maybe Stussy's the traitor. Gloriosa, probably not. Gansui, maybe, but probably not. It turns out it was Gil Bastar the whole time, but we haven't even seen Gil yet. We haven't even met Gil as a character yet. We see him in a silhouette, and we see him way in the background at God Valley. We see him, and that's fucking it. This is Gil. We see Gil way in the background. He hasn't talked yet. He hasn't any dialogue yet. Yeah. So, if John turns out to be like, oh, it was this dude the whole time, and that's why he was mutinied. He was the Judas. He was the Judas, and he was the Brutus. Who's the other one? In Dante's Inferno, Cassidus? In Dante's Inferno, in the lowest level of Kokitos, Satan is frozen in the center of this giant lake. And Satan has 3 heads in Dante's Divine Comedy. And the lowest layer is the layer of betrayal. And the most inner ring where Satan is betrayal against, like, your benefactors and people that will help you. So the 3 greatest traitors in history are being constantly gnawed on by Satan himself. Like, that's the worst punishment you could possibly get. So it's Judas in the center mouth because he betrayed Jesus. Judas, and then Brutus, or Brute, I forget. Is it Brutus or Brute? I forget. But it's like the guy that betrayed Caesar is in the other mouth. And then there's a third one. Hold on. Let me double check this really quick. Who were the 3... It was Judas, and then I think Brutus, and then there was somebody else. Okay, it was, Canto 34, Judas Iscariot, Marcus Junius Brutus, and Gaius Cassius Longinus, co-conspirator. Oh, wow. So I guess, man, when Dante was writing the Divine Comedy, when Dante Alighieri was writing the Divine Comedy, he really was just like, man, the people that fucked over Caesar, both of them end up getting bitten off by Satan. I mean, Judas is there too, granted. He's kind of like, Judas Iscariot is like the archetypical dude that will stab you in the fucking back. He betrayed Jesus, for fuck's sake, right? So he's the guy that, like, we all know needs to be there. But then, like, no, the Brutus and Cassius, 2 people that betrayed Caesar, they also end up there too. It's like, okay, shit, all right, yeah. Cassius! Dante is Italian, so there you go. I know, it makes sense. I'm just saying that, like, wow, okay, we doubled up on one. Like, there's 3 mouths, and we had to double up on one of that. I was like, okay, all right, sure. Yeah, he was sponsored by the Augustus. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. Little bit of Dante's Inferno side discussion. What's your favorite level of hell? All right. I like level 6, the heretics. You just get thrown in a burning grave for the rest of eternity. Level 7 is fun, where if you off yourself, you get turned into a tree. Yeah, that's the punishment if you off yourself. You become a tree, and the tree is like a blood human. It's like a tree with bark, but you still have blood and stuff on the inside, and harpies will come down and, like, rip apart the tree bark, and you'll, like, bleed, like, blood sap. So that's something weird. Yeah, it's pretty weird. Is Impale Down based on that? So yes and no. Impale Down has definitely references to Dante's Inferno, but Buddhist Hell also has levels as well. And so that's maybe more of a reference that Oda would have taken in Japan. So, like, there you go. But Buddhist Hell is fucking awful. Like, hold on, give me the levels of Buddhist Hell. Dude, the lowest levels of Buddhist Hell are, like, very descriptive of how, like, cold they are, okay? And how long you're gonna be spent there, okay? So there's 6 realms of samsara, 8 hot hells, 8 cold hells, and there's like lesser hells, you know? They're not too bad, right, okay? The 8 hot hells, and then there's 8 cold hells. So yeah, it goes into great description on how the hells will actually like hurt you. So in the 8 cold hells, level 1 is you get huge blisters. Level 2 is the blisters burst open, leaving raw flesh. Level 3 is you begin to shiver so violently you can only say "at, at." Okay, and then you shiver so bad you can only say "ha ha." So you're just laughing constantly. Ha 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 ha. And then level 5, you only can say who's who. And then level 6, your skin turns blue like lotus petals from frostbite. And then level 7, your skin cracks open like a red lotus in bloom. And then level 8, the lowest level, you crack to the bone like a great lotus flower flapping open. So, honestly, levels 1 and 2 seem pretty bad with the blisters and then them popping. Levels 3 through 5 don't seem that bad. You're just saying various onomatopoeias. Like, you're just like, he's like, ha 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 ha. And then you go from one phonetic to another. That doesn't really seem that bad, to be honest with you. Hell is so bad you just become man dark. Yeah. But it's very descriptive on how long you spend there. Because it's like 10 to like the 32nd power or something. There's a very specific number that is given. Wouldn't the skin be gone from the bursted blisters already? No. That's not how it works in the Buddhist hell. That's not how that works. It's magic. All right? It's magic. All right? Why do you think the devil fruit Blackbeard has the yami yami no mi looks like the gummo gummo no mi? It does. It fucking does look similar, right? So, like, at first you're just like, why? Maybe there's no big deal. And then others is like, oh, maybe there's relevance here. There is one thing to bring up about this, though, and it's earlier in the story, Oda clearly did not have an idea for each devil fruit to have a super unique shape to the ability of the power, right? So, like, Lucci's leopard zone is shaped like a cat, and it has a leopard print over it, right? Perona's ghost fruit has little ghosts on it, right? So when you go back and look at Buggies or Luffy's or you look at Blackbeard's or you look at Kaku's, it just doesn't fit the same designs that Oda started doing later in the One Piece magazine, okay? So do you see the, that might be more of a thing of like Oda's art style just evolving to the point where he's like, yeah, I really wanted the devil fruits to have unique designs depending on the power, and he didn't realize that until later, right? Yeah, Buggies is just a pineapple. Kaku's is just bananas, which has nothing to do with a giraffe. Like, if Oda designed the giraffe zone right now, it would probably be like a super long, like, devil fruit or something like that Kaku had to eat. Khalifa's kind of looks like a bar of soap, sort of, so maybe. Yeah. I don't know what the hell the Article 18 thing mentioned. Like, apparently, yeah, there is international law in the One Piece world. The Reverie is kind of like the UN, so I guess that would make sense. Rox violated a lot of war crimes. Like, he committed a lot of war crimes. Like, no shit. It's just the first time that that's ever been mentioned in the story, compared to, like, I'm sure the Yonko all do that. The pirates all at large do that, but, like, Rox was really bad at it. Yeah. I guess, yeah, the banana's a long fruit and the giraffe is a long animal. It's just that the way all the other animal fruits look, like the ox zone has ox horns coming out of it. The leopard zone is a leopard print in the shape of a cat's head, right? By that logic. Then again, the dragon fruit doesn't look like a dragon, though it does have dragon scales kind of on it. Yamato's, Okuchi no Makami doesn't look like a wolf. Yamato's just looks like an orange, honestly. So, yeah. Enaru's fruit looks like lightning. Yes, it does. It would be funny if the door fruit was a door. Yeah, well, we don't know about that one yet. Oda draws 2 of them for every One Piece magazine that comes out, and it comes out at, like, weird intervals. Yeah, so it's like, the way the hells work in Buddhism is like 500 years for every human day. that you lived. So if you do the math out, that is trillions of years for every day that you've lived. Oh, God, how many days have I lived? There's probably a way to check that. I'll just ChatGPT it. Okay. Okay. I'll just type in my birthday. Okay. Okay, I was born April 24th, 1993. All right, how many days have I been alive? I have been alive? Oh, God, I'm going to be sad at this number, probably. I have been alive for 11,803 days. Huh. 11,803 days. Well, I would say this about Buddhist hell, because a lot of other interpretations, like Christian interpretation of hell, and I know that can change depending on the denomination of Christianity. I've even talked to some Christians about it, where like they don't really view hell as like a place, but like a lot of versions I've heard, it's just it's straight up eternal, and then this is at least giving you a time frame. Nothing is eternal except nirvana in Buddhism. Like no matter where you end up, you will eventually leave that cycle. It's just in the terms of these hells, it's like trillions of years, but it's not eternal. It's not eternal. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of those days were spent on talking about One Piece. A lot of those days. Yep. You use ChatGPT a lot. Well, it's just right here. It's open already. I have that ready to go. So there it is. Yeah, it is, and it like that's what I've heard. I've heard it as like a separation of God. You are at a place like void of like the cold and loneliness of not being in God's presence. But there's like over 40,000 different denominations of Christianity. There are a lot that also focus on actual burning, horrible place you go if you don't believe in Jesus enough. You know, yeah, a lot of different interpretations. Anyway. Why won't Techie 101 make a video on chess and Kuramarimo? Maybe someday I will. You know what? When we get to winter, I'll do it. Fuck it. Fine. Yes, I'll make a video on chess and Kuramarimo when it starts getting cold in December and there's a break week and there's nothing going on. I'll make a video on chess. I don't mind chess. He's fine. I'll make a video on him. There you go. Yeah. Or maybe I won't. Yeah, I probably will. I made a video on Chu before. The guy that was on Arlong's crew. So yeah, I'm not against making videos on like weird random side characters. Yeah. Do you think Garling kidnapped Shocky for her to be a I mean, yeah, that's kind of the idea for, you know, to be a slave. And also it harkens back to something that Shocky said in the last chapter, not this one, 1156, where she says specifically, I will not be taken. I will not be enslaved. I don't know if she says enslaved. She's like, I will not be taken by somebody, right? So now if that happens and she's taken away by Garling or one of the admirals or somebody and it wouldn't have been one of the admirals. It would have been the Celestial Dragons, the God's Knights getting personally involved, taking her to God Valley. Then yeah, that was probably the idea because that's what the Celestial Dragons are all about. Yeah. So the Rocks pirates were just trying to save their friend. They were good at the end of the day. Tsukuyomi reminds me of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Spirit monster. Well, Tsukuyomi is based off an actual Japanese, like, spirit. Yeah. Yeah, we'll be going through the donos because we're about an hour and a half in, so we're about ready to, like, call it anyway. I'm going to go get lunch here in a moment. Don't know what I'm going to eat, but get some. Maybe I'll go somewhere. I don't know. Yesterday was my, like, cleaning the house day. You know, also grinding in RuneScape day to get the Dragon Defender from the Warriors Guild, which I did get. So I got that. Now I'm just working on other stuff. But yeah, yesterday was that. Switching back and forth. It's been so hot here recently. It's like 90 degrees out today. It's like it's hard to even get anything done outside. Old school. Oh, old school RuneScape. Absolutely. Yeah. Tsukuyomi is the god of the moon, yeah. There's Tsukuyomi, there's Susanoo, And then there's Amaterasu. RS3 is better though. No, I like 2007 better. I like old school better. That's what I played when I was in middle school, man. But yeah, let's go through some super chats here, and then let's wind it down. All right. Hado number 88 is Hiru Gekizo Shintei Raiho. I remember the name of that. Hiryu Gekizoko Shintei Raiho. Which one is that? I remember a character shouting that, but hold on. Oh, it was the one that Tessai used in Turn Back the Pendulum. Yeah, he used that against Aizen, and then Aizen used Danku. And Danku is a Bakudo that specifically blocks any Hado up to 89, and Tessai used 88. So that was Aizen just like middle finger, just trolling Tessai like, pfft. Yeah. Yeah, John might have been the mole. Could have been. Kong would be an orangutan having an orange admiral. Oh, yeah, like a different, because they all have different colors. Maybe he would have been like giant orangutan. I don't know. Captain John giving first major commander vibes. I think his treasure will be 100% important. It will hold importance to rocks. Yeah, at this point, yeah. It wasn't just Captain John had some gold that he hid away somewhere. Because if that was the case, if it was just some gold, Buggy could have found it over the time skip, and that's how Buggy financed his operation at Kalibali, his Buggy's delivery. But that's not what happened. That's what I assumed happened. That's not what happened, though. So Buggy maybe could not find it, and then he had to buy money. He had to take a small loan of 1 billion berries from Crocodile, right? And then we had to see where that went from there. Let's see. I answered that one. Answered the one about the idols. I think I got all these. Yeah, because these are going back to the ones before then. Do you think the reason Oda made Luffy stay and listen to the messages is because there's something in the story Luffy needs to hear? Yeah, it's either that and also probably like the hero arriving late moment where like Zoro and Sanji go up first with the new giant warrior pirates, and then they fight a little bit, and just when things are looking bad, that's when Luffy and Hyruden and Loki show up, and it's like the cavalry is here, you know, like it's going to be that kind of moment, I would assume. Also, Luffy has the hard counter to the Domi Reversi, I would assume, so you don't want to play his role too quickly. You want to have him show up later. Yeah. And I answered all those. Yeah. Oh, wait, what was that one with the Chop Chop fruit? The Chop Chop fruit has survived Mihawk's hockey sword. Yeah. So there's like a whole thing about that. You could go into a whole discussion about Mihawk and versus Buggy. Does Buggy separate when the sword hits his body and then that's how it happens? Or does it separate beforehand? Right? Like, how does Hockey get involved with this? Right? Like, if Mihawk used Hockey, would he be able to cut Buggy? I don't know. Yeah. Why haven't we seen, like, a poop fruit yet? Oda has done it in the SBS. There's an SBS, I think, that he's created devil fruits that are, like that are, like, gag devil fruits that are never going to be in the story. Yeah. But could never complete the Monkey Madness quest. I completed Monkey Madness back in the day. I beat Monkey Madness with a website called Rune HQ before the wiki really existed. This was back in 07. All right, there was a website called Rune HQ that my friend Ben told me about. He's like, oh yeah, go on that website. It walks you through all the quests. And it's like, it wasn't as good as like the wiki is, I think. But back then it was all I had. So I used it and I beat it. And it was crazy. And now there's Monkey Madness 2. Which I do not have the skills for yet, but I've been training. I've been getting up there. I when I started playing this, I was talking to Spooky, because Spooky also plays, and he's like, yeah, I just grind when I'm editing my videos and stuff. So that's what I do. Like when I was editing the video I made a few days ago, the 40 years ago in One Piece video, I was just grinding at the Nightmare Zone while I was editing, and it worked really well because a lot of it's like AFK shit. So it's like, also, I've never played RuneScape with 2 monitors. Now that I have my work set up down here with my office, I have 2 monitors so I can focus on this and then do this in the background. Now it makes grinding grinding is way easier now. I could be over here woodcutting and then watch a movie or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, that makes it way easier. But anyway, yeah. I'm gonna get going though. I think this is a good place to end it. Thanks to everybody for showing up. There is a break this week, so there's no new chapter. I'll be doing some videos on Shockey and Rocks and the God Valley event that we're about to get in the story. See where this goes. Probably do another stream at some point. Maybe another tier list in the meantime. Not really sure 100%. Yeah. But this is good. This is all right. I don't think there's anything else major coming up. I do maybe do a video about the new opening, because the new opening does have some cool shit in it. So I can maybe do a video on that. It came out last week, but yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to go get lunch. This will be Teching 101 and Vampire Berry and the giant, I don't know if you can see them, the giant pile of vampire berries that are over here on my my beanbag chair. Just a sack of berries. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Teching signing out. Later.